Hey there! Only a couple days ago, Games Workshop showed off a couple new models coming to the Stormcast Eternals and the Skaven line, which really surprised me considering how much new stuff is already coming in the Skaventide box. So I wanted to make a quick video where I go through some of the new models coming in the Skaventide box, and I guess some of the new models coming outside the Skaventide box as well. First, I want to look at the new Skaven model, the Brood Terror. This thing looks awesome, and I'm really excited for the Skaven armies to have something like this on their team. All the warpstone glow features it has on it are perfect. I really like the flesh that's kind of going around the metal features. I really want to know what the scale of it's going to be like. I'm also curious if it's going to be a monster or a character. I'm leaning more towards a monster, but it would be kind of cool if it was a character. Maybe it could interact some way with the rat ogres, because it kind of has features like the rat ogres do. We see here these other views. I really like the backpack it has. All those bronze features are great, and all the oxidized copper. I really love that. And that's not that hard to paint. It's really easy to paint, by the way. I think this is just super perfect Skaven. I think they've hit it out of the park with this one. Again, I'm really excited to see what the scale of it is. I'd love for this thing to be quite big, but I think it's going to be on the medium size. We'll see. They also showed off the winged Knight-Azyros, which I'm really excited about. I'm really loving the more gothic look that the Stormcast Eternals have now. I think this is a great turn for them to kind of go away from the very clean look that they've always had to kind of go for a more dirtier, more gothic, more interesting look, really. I wasn't sure I was going to like the new winged units that came in the Skaventide box, but I really like the features on this guy, especially this yellow paint scheme that they show off here. I think this looks better than the original, the kind of the bluish and gray. Also, the pose is great. Games Workshop has gotten so good with the posing, how he's just balancing on that pillar. It almost looks like he's in flight. I think it's great. I also wanted to take a quick look at what comes in the Skaventide box, because it's really kind of blown my mind how much new stuff they're making, not only for the Stormcast Eternals, but especially for the Skaven. I mean, they're kind of revamping that whole line. The Lord Vigilant on the Gryfstalker looks really awesome. Again, they're going for kind of a darker, dirtier look with the Stormcast, and I think it's really working. None of the other Griffin animals have ever looked this monstrous to me. Those talons and the feathers coming off of it, they've always looked very clean. They've always looked more like dogs. This is the first time I've seen them look like monsters, and I really like the way it looks. I am liking the smoke effects they've added, though. Those are really great. The Lord Terminus, very cool. I really like his axe. Pretty simple, though. I mean, there's not much to say here. It is cool that he comes with an extra model here. I wonder if that's going to have any rules interaction for what his abilities are going to be. Hopefully this guy hits hard and maybe inspires the other infantry leaders in the army. We'll see. I really like this Lord Veritant. I think the blindfold he has is super cool. All the flame details are great. I feel like this guy is a great character to have fighting against Skaven. He clearly wants to kill as much chaos as he can. I think this guy is awesome. The Knight Questar is also super great. I could see this model being really popular in D&D campaigns. I mean, if I had a paladin, this is exactly what I would want my paladin to look like. This guy looks awesome. The Reclusians look really cool, I think. They are a little too similar to the Annihilators. I think all the Stormcast stuff is just a little too similar to each other. I will say, though, I do like the guy that's double wielding the axes. I don't know if you can dual wield with all of them, but I really like that look. I think more than I like the shield. Just gives it a little more of a unique feel. They kind of look like berserkers in a way with those double wielding axes. Really like that. These are the guys I wasn't too convinced on. Something about winged units just always look a little off to me. I'm not sure what that is. I think it's just proportions maybe. And also I just know that they are a pain in the butt to have standing stably. They're always tipping over. That being said, these guys do look great, and I'm sure they're going to be fun to play with. The Liberators were a little disappointing for me. I'm not a huge fan of the new helmet redesign. I think they look a little too much like the other basic infantry that we already have. That being said, if you like hammers, these guys are pretty cool. I maybe would pick these guys over some of the other models just because I think hammers are cooler than spears. I think the new Skaven look amazing. It's super tempting for me to pick up this box and keep both armies. I don't know if I'll be able to do that. This Gnaw Lord looks so perfect. I love that he's just riding another rat. Not sure how that works. Not sure about the Skaven lore on that, but I think it looks great. I think the other characters are really cool. I mean, the other characters aren't as impressive as the Gnaw Lord, but they have really good features, like how this Grey Seer has these tiny rats coming out of the bell under him. I think that's a really good touch. And this guy, he's not the coolest out of the whole army, but I do think he's just well done. The Warlock Engineer, I think, looks great. Any of the Giselles, any of the snipers that these guys have, I really like. I think that's a really cool thing for them to lean into. The Skaven being one of the few shooting armies in Age of Sigmar, I think is really cool. This one might be the best, maybe the second best model coming out of the Skaventide box. The Warp Blaster. This looks amazing. I really, really like what they did here. Again, the Warpstone features I think look great. The fact that it's getting pushed like it's a battering ram, I really like that. And the turret itself, I think it looks awesome. I'm really excited to see the scale of this and see what it can do on the table. And the Rat Ogres are what I might consider the best models out of the Skaven box. These guys are fantastic, especially the one that has the Warpstone coming out of his shoulder and that has the gun. These guys are great. I would be so terrified to fight these guys in a game. I do think they already showed off their rules in a preview, so I'm pretty sure they're very melee focused and very hard hitting. That being said, I think they only hit on 4s, so don't expect to do crazy damage with these guys. And the Warp Blockages Ales, these are great. If I was playing Skaven, I would get a lot more than 3 of these. Definitely an upgrade from what they had before. These guys definitely needed a model refresh. So, great job. And of course we have the basic infantry. Let's zoom in a little bit on these. I will say I am very impressed that there seems to be very few redundancies here. A lot of these look unique. I really like all the different weapon types they have. Some of them have knives, some of them have clubs. The triangular shields I think are very cool. I'm sure these guys are nothing but fodder, but they're pretty good looking fodder at that. And those are all the new models coming out in the Skaventide box and the extra ones that they just announced a couple days ago. Let me know if you're excited about the new Skaventide box or the new edition of Age of Sigmar. Feel free to subscribe and take care.